What's going on, everyone? We're going to be doing a recap on today's trade on July 17th. It is Monday night here. Well, it's midnight now, so let's go ahead and get right into this. Let me just clear out into another drawing set, show you guys the whole how we did everything today. So we're going to get right into it. Going into the daily chart. You know how we do top-down analysis every day. Alright, give me one moment. Let's go ahead and delete all this extra shit off. Alright, so daily. First of all, we had a run-up green day. The past days were green days, so we're still gonna have a daily bullish bias, and the reason that is too is we had a daily FVG on the 12th. You see the low, so the low of this candle was 19758.5. The next day low of day was 19760. So we did not tap into that. We did not tap into the FVG, but it was still a green day. So I'm still keeping my daily bullish bias until we see something that makes me change, like a market structure break or something like that. But just with this context, keeping my daily bullish bias. And even ES had just tapped into a daily fair value gap as well the day before. So, using context on ES and NQ, I'm going to keep my daily bias. So we're going to come down to the 4-hour chart. Go ahead and zoom in. Oh, fuck. So here we had a 4-hour FVG. Go ahead and mark this out. Mark this out for y'all. Alright, and other than that, I don't really see anything else on the 4-hour. Let's go down to the hourly chart. Hourly chart, we really didn't have anything either. Go down to the 15-minute chart. Alright. So 15-minute chart, we also really didn't have anything on top of that either. But I'm going to go ahead and mark out my sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity zones. So I used the 15-minute swing points to be able to mark them out as buy side or sell side liquidity zones, because those are areas where we could possibly reverse that. And we're also going to mark out the 8:30 and the midnight opening price, just to let us know whether we are in a premium or a discount at the moment. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. And I always mark out the opening prices of midnight and 8:30 every day, and I'm going to use a purple line on them like we usually do. Alright, here's 8:30 opening price, and this is all in New York time. If you're not in New York time, I suggest just switching your charts to New York time. It makes it way easier. Well, for me it makes it easier to follow along with news and everything. But if not, to each their own. It doesn't really matter. Whatever helps you best, that's all that really matters, your preference wise. Alright, so let's get right into it. We have our buy side liquidity zones marked. We also have our sell side liquidity zones marked, and we also had this little 15-minute bearish FVG. Let's go ahead and mark this out just for context. Alright. And then we're going to mark out our 9:45 and 10:15 time frames. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the 1 minute chart, show you guys how we get the analysis going. Well, we had the analysis, alright, so the opening price, right at the open at 9:30, we tap into that 15-minute fair value gap. From there, we then come down, sweep some sell side, bounce back up, and we reject this 1 minute fair value gap and continue down into the 4-hour FVG. So in our macro window of 9:45 to 10:15, we came down into the fair value gap. As you see here, we fully rebalance it, at the same time hitting another sell side liquidity, sweeping this lows from the 15-minute chart. Sweep these lows, rebalance the 4-hour FVG, and with this context, we look for a setup. Swept from sell side basically. Now we look for a long setup. On top of that, we're below 8:30 opening price and midnight opening price, telling me we're in a discount today, which is good for having a bull when we have a bullish bias, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this one since we swept it pretty good. Remove this. I'm also gonna remove the 4-hour FVG since it got rebalanced, and this was the last level we swept. That's all I really care about, the last level we swept. Alright, so from here we wait until we get a displacement and a fair value gap formed right after making that displacement. So we come down, rebalance 4-hour FVG, sweep this zone, we come up, down, we make a little short-term high, we break it, but there's no FVG made. From here we make another short-term high, at the same time filling some of this FVG. I did take a short at this FVG and at this entry right here. I got stopped out at about a 12-point loss, and right after getting stopped out was when this bullish FVG had formed, at the same time displacing this. So I immediately took this long, did not hesitate to switch my bias, and at the same time, as I knew we were in a discount and I knew I had a daily bias, so taking those shorts was not really the best decision on my part, but we all make mistakes. It is what it is. We use these as learning experiences, and we don't let our mistakes define who we are as traders. Alright, so this is the sweep of the sell side liquidity. Here's a displacement, right? And at the displacement, what do we get formed here? Bullish fair value gap. Alright, go ahead and mark this out. And another one we also had was very tiny right here, another bullish fair value gap. So since we had two bullish fair value gaps, I entered off the most recent one. If you waited for this one, I believe price did not even tap into it. So the low of this candle was at 19942.75. The low of this was 19942.75. So it hit the border of it, but it never went in the fair value gap. So you never would have got filled on this entry. So that's why we always enter on the most recent fair value gap that was made. Alright, so we got entered here on this most recent fair value gap. We're going to mark the entry as blue. I put my stop below this the second fair value gap that was made. Since there is two, I put my stop at under the second one, because we shouldn't want price to go lower than that. So entry was at 19945. Oh, I did tick below, so make sure it hits in the zone. So entry was at 19944.75, and stop was at 19929, because I always go a point below what the low of this is. So it was 19929. So it was about a, what is that, 16-point stop loss. Alright, first target was, I believe first target I marked as high of day, which was right here. Go ahead and mark this for the blue. So this was first target. This was second target right here. Let me go back to the 15-minute chart to show you guys. So since we were in long here, I target opposing liquidity. So high of day was my first target. This minor buy side liquidity was second target, and this pre-market high was final take profit, right? So let's go ahead and just mark all these down with the blue line just to let you know these are our trade targets. All right, go back to the 1 minute just so you guys know where we get these blue lines from. They're not just random levels, they're from 15-minute swing points. So as you see at the entry, we get entered here, we draw up, make another fair value gap here. If you didn't catch that first entry, you could have entered here as well. As you see there, it offered you a good entry point right there. We move more up, we hit first target. First target, we secured about, what is that, 29 points. From there, I moved my stops to break even, and as you see, we ended up getting stopped out of this trade right after. So I exited 50%, securing 29 points, and the reds, we got stopped out of break even. You know, it is what it is. And after that, you know, we ended up, what's it called? We ended up rebalancing this whole second fair value gap and had a run up. And honestly, to me, it didn't really offer that many good entry points on this fair value gap. Yeah, you could have, or on this second push up, yeah, you could have entered here at this fair value gap, but I couldn't justify it having to enter at 19,961. You would have then had to put your stop below this fair value gap, which would have been about, or even this low, which would have been about a 30-point stop. I mean, you know, you could risk, if it matches your risk management, then by all means, this would have been a great trade, and it was a great trade. As you see, we rallied all day. So you could have entered here, and price never went back to this FVG here, or even entered here if, you know, you take trades like this. But if it didn't, for me, I only trade my macro window. If it didn't show up here, then it is what it is. And yeah, maybe if I didn't put my stop to break even, I could have still been in the trade. I would have still got stopped out here, you know. And the thing is, like, you know, you can always say, well, I wish I didn't move my stop. But what if we didn't bounce here? What if we continue running down and you never moved your stop, and now it hit your stop in negatives instead of getting stopped at a break even? Then you will be mad that you didn't move your stop, you know. So don't get all worked up over that you got stopped at a break even. We still made profits. That's all that matters for the day. And as you see the rest of the day, it is kind of disappointing. As you see, we rallied all the way from, what is it, 19,994. We rallied all the way up to 2271, which is about like almost a 300-point move up. But it is what it is, you know. We're not going to have FOMO. We did not try to get back into trade. We did not try to force a trade. We got what we got, and we called it a day. That's what we do. We don't sit here and cry about missing profits, because every day we know it's going to present us another great opportunity, especially with this setup. We know it's consistent. We could find this setup almost every day, and it's a very good, reliable setup that gives consistent profits, you know. So yeah, that was my trade for today. I took this on my funded account and my evaluation account, so made some pretty good profits there. And I feel like with this big run up, we're gonna have some great levels for tomorrow. Going in tomorrow, we're gonna have some great levels. Hopefully on top of that, we get some great moves, especially because look at this on the 15-minute chart. We had no red candles on this run up. We have multiple fair value gaps, which is definitely going to be something I'm watching on this next coming day. Still going to have a daily bias, a bullish bias. As you see, we closed green on the day, so there's no reason for me to want to switch my bias short. You know, we don't catch the top. We don't try to catch the top. the trend is your friend. Follow the trend until the trend doesn't work no more. That's all I can tell you. So yeah, that's the trade for today. If you guys have any questions, drop some comments down below. Shoot me a message in the Discord. Shoot me a private message or whatever you need. Like I said, I'm always happy to help y'all succeed. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all have a good one night.